Second, SECU to direct data entry device. Now let's look at this. What's it? DDE. We will call it DDE. You see this in chapter 2. Okay. Input and output devices. And DDE. So we'll talk about DDE, right? It's important. DDE, let me explain it, are used to input data into a computer, okay, without the need for very much, okay, if any, human interaction. Okay. Now let's look at let's look at the two diags. 3D printer, no, this is output. DVD reader is storage, chapter 3. Keyboard is chapter 2, input. Okay, so this is output. Let me put it there, output. This is storage. And optical for that matter. To be specific, this is input. This is input, right? And this is pointing device. You have to read the textbook from chapter 1 to 21. You have to. And that's why if you're unable to, this is why this YouTube channel is here for you. So we have the pen drive. Pen drive is storage. And this is a SSD, solid state. Okay, solid state. Okay, storage. QR scanner. Yes. This is what we call the quick response. The QR means quick response. And this holds more information than the barcode. The RFID reader, yes. This is what we call the radio frequency. The ID means identification. Please take note. Identification. SD card, no. This is what? Storage. What kind of storage? Memory card. Can you see that? So we have done with that. That's how we answer the question. All right. A computer system uses both application software and system software. Right? Describe the following types of application software. When we talk about software, you need to understand that software means is the general what? The general term for program. That's what software is. Let me write it down. Software. Where can I write it? Software is the general term used for program. Okay. That controls what? The computer system and process data. Then we have the two types, application and system software. Let's talk about the application software. Where can I talk about it? Oh my god. Okay. Let me talk about it here. So the application software, okay, provides the user or provide the services. Okay, software, the services the user requires to solve a particular task. Mhm. So let's talk about the types. We have the computer aided design. The computer aided design. So for the computer aided design, we have 2 points. Okay. So they are used to, they help with what? The creation. Okay. Help in what? The creation. Okay. And manipulation. Manipulation of a drawing. Okay. Of a drawing. Okay. Which can be in 2D or 3D models. Again, it can also create digital representations of objects before they are manufactured. Okay. Then measurement. Now we have control and measurement software. It's important for you to understand that when we talk about control and measurement software, both of them is designed to allow a computer or a microprocessor to interact with the sensor, right? So for the measurement, it measures physical quantity. The control compares. The measurement measures what? Physical quantity in real world. You need to know that. Measure physical quantities in real words. So visualize, or we can use the same word. Visualize the physical quantity. The physical quantities in real world. Again, it can also allow allows a computer to interact. Remember I said that. I said that. I said they are designed to allow what? A computer or a microprocessor to interface with the sensor. Interact or interface with the sensor. Okay. Video editing software. Right. So we'll talk about video editing software. What are we saying essentially? Now, for video editing softwares, right, they allow a user to what? To manipulate videos, to produce a new video. So you can rearrange, you can add or remove section of the video, you can apply color correction, you can even create transitions between clips in the video footage. Okay, so um let me add it. Let's talk about it. You can rearranging, rearranging or adding or removing sections of video clips. Okay. We also have creating transitions between clips in the video footage. Okay. For other, you have this. Okay. It can allow the video to be exported in different what? In different file formats. Okay. Are we having a good time? So this is still chapter. Okay, I didn't oh, sorry, I didn't specify the chapter. My goodness. Okay, so this is chapter 1. Types and components of computer system. Can you see that? Okay. Please let me know if you can see my handwriting, because I want to ensure that you can see what I'm writing. All right. State the purpose of application software. We talked about application software here. It said it provides the services that the user requires to solve a particular problem. Permit me to talk about the system software. Let me talk about system software. I know we're not talking about it, but let me talk about, so you have a full knowledge of it. So we'll talk about the system software. Okay. Is the software designed to a platform, provide a platform on which all other software can run. And if you're looking for example here, what are the examples? We have the compilers, we have the device drivers, we have the operating system. Let me know in the comment section which other ones do we have that I've not mentioned. This is what we do here. We don't just solve a past paper. I teach you. If you're looking for solving a past paper, look for some another YouTube channel. But if you want to learn, this is where you need to be. This is where you need to be. So that's what we do here. State the purpose of application software. We talked about the purpose, and we have 1 mark. It provides the services that the user requires to solve a particular task or specific task, whichever one you want to use. Okay. This is also chapter 1, just in case. This is also chapter 1. Okay. Chapter 1. We're having a good time? All right. Question 3. The head teacher at our school is planning to improve the registration system for pupils. Improve. The head teacher can choose a system that uses either ID card with a magnetic stripe or scanner that uses handprint. Discuss the benefit and drawback of using a system that would read handprint. Okay, so we have magnetic stripe. The handprint talks about biometrics. I know you don't think too much. It's biometrics. Okay, so which chapter will give us more understanding of this? I think it's chapter 6. I think it's chapter 6 because there's somewhere in chapter 6 that includes all the things we are saying. Although we have them in chapter 2, and then you have to now look at chapter 8. But in chapter 6, I think it's under retail. If I'm not sure, maybe you have to go through and check. But I think it's under retail where we talked about all the things like the barcodes, the RFID, even the QR code was also mentioned there as well, and then the magnetic stripe, so these things are important. Okay. Yeah, this is also important. Your chip and pin, your contactless, your near field communication, um, as much as possible. No, I think recognition system. Yeah, because I've mentioned those things in video. So it's recognition system, right? Where you have your OMRO, your barcode, your QR code, your optical reader, your ANPRO, RFID, and then you have them as well. Then you have your biometrics there, your biometrics recognition system. Okay, so that would give you an understanding. So the magnetic stripe, right? So the magnetic stripe uses um, a swiping. You see that in chapter 2. Okay, so we have um, chapter 2, but the focus is handprint. Okay, it's handprint. So the focus is handprint. Okay, so the focus there is handprint. So since the focus is handprint, so we'll just stick. But I will explain it anyway. I will explain it. Because so it's used to swipe to gain access to a building, and it can also be used as ATM. So the information is stored at the back. Magnetic stripe is stored at the back, and of course, information can be wiped when it's close to any form of magnetic field. So please take note of that when it's close to any form of what magnetic field. Okay, so please take note of that. Okay, all right. So we talked about. Okay, so clearly it wasn't recording. These are the issues we have. But okay, let me see what I've explained. Um, I talked about the magnetic stripe. So I said for magnetic stripe, they are used to swiping, right, to gain access to a building. They can also be used as ATM card. All right. Then when we talk about um the scanners that read handprints, I said they are biometrics, right? I said they are biometrics, right? I said that they are biometrics. That simply means they are unique. And I talked about they said discuss the benefit and drawbacks of using a system that would read handprint. And I said you will see this in chapter 6, ICT application recognition system, right? But you can also see it structurally in depth in chapter 8 under safety and security, when we are talking about the security of data. Okay. protection of data, more specific. And I talked about the command word. And I said for discuss, it means to write about issues or topics in depth in a structured way. Okay. So that simply means that for you to write about an issue, okay, in a structured way, you have to talk about the benefits and the negative of that topic. But we're talking about it what in a structured way. I talked about that the benefits are handprints are unique. That simply means that every pupil's handprint is different, no matter if they are twins. My handprint and your handprint is never the same thing. And I also said that unlike the magnetic stripe, somebody can register for you when you are not in school. But for the handprint, the pupil has to be present to be registered. If a student register, it is impossible that child has to be in school because the child must have used his hand to register. Right? They are now said that the handprint is impossible to lose. It's impossible to lose. Unlike the magnetic stripe, the child might say, teacher, I forgot my magnetic stripe. I forgot my magnetic stripe. He's a kid. She's a kid. Of course they will forget. But they can't tell the teacher, teacher, I forgot my hand. Oh my God. How can you forget your hand? How can you forget your hand? Use that hand and register, to check in present. Okay. So this is very important. Okay. So it is impossible to lose. Okay. And it prevents any form of, it's a fast form of data entry. It's a fast form of what? Data entry. Okay. So I think I'm going to put here is um, it's hard to impossible to lose and hard to what clone. Unlike the magnetic stripe, they can clone it. Okay, let's talk about drawbacks. Okay, for drawbacks, we have what? Setting up the system takes a lot of time. Setting up, setting up, and maintenance are expensive. Okay. Okay. Adding new fingerprint will take time because if you have to register every student fingerprint for it to be recognized. Adding new handprint, rather not fingerprint, handprint can take time. I've talked about six, so the rest will be others. Okay. Now, if the palm of the hand is damaged, okay, the reader can easily misread the data. Okay, so take note of that. Position of the hand is critical. If you don't position it where it's not going to read. So please take note. If you don't position it where it's not going to read. So position of the hand is what? Critical. Okay. All right. All right. Hope that is clear. Question 4. A computer system needs to be tested before it can be implemented. Okay, it needs to be tested before it can be implemented. So this is chapter 7. Okay, the systems life cycle, which is LSC. Explain why the following element needs to be tested. Let's explain. So this is under what? This is under development and testing, right? This is under development and testing. Please take note. Development and testing. Development and testing. Okay. So let's talk about now. We have 5 of them: the file structure, validation routine, data structure, the output format, and the input format. Now, for the file format, right, we have to ensure the application is what is compatible. Okay. To ensure, okay, application compatibility. Compatibility. Yeah, that's the spelling. Okay. Because it also helps to prevent any form of data crashes. Okay, so please, it's very important to ensure application compatibility. For validation routines, um for validation routines, to ensure they trap unreasonable data, right? So because what validation routine does is to ensure that the data entered is what is reasonable. Okay, to ensure to ensure they trap unreasonable what data. So we have the output format, right? For the output format, to ensure, that's your screen, your report layout, right? To ensure data can be what clearly seen. Clearly seen on the screen. Okay, on the screen. All right. Hope that is clear. What else? A lot, and you're like, okay, do you have a private tuition? Don't you have? Do you have? And yes, Ajiro Tech do have a private tuition. So by my right, you can see that we have for the Edexcel and Cambridge IGCSE, and yes, we do have for all subjects. Okay, all subjects. Okay, the popular ones that's always been in demand is mathematics, English language as a second language. Okay, we have physics, we have biology, we have chemistry, and we have um, the flagship, which is ICT, just here and there. We also have business studies. So if you're interested for a private tuition, I think all you have to do is send an email to the sales team at ajirotech@gmail.com, and they would reply to you, talk about your time zone, talk about, and the fee is really quite affordable. Really, it's really quite affordable. It's when you look at it across other tutoring service, I think this is the one that's quite affordable, and you get the very best of service. We also have for the E levels as well, and also for the Edexcel. So we have for the Cambridge E levels and Edexcel E levels. Okay, and we have also across the subject mathematics, which is usually the hot cake when it comes to E level, mathematics and chemistry. and then biology. These are usually one of the ones we have in demand always, all the time. Even physics, for A level. So all you have to do, if you're watching this right now and you are interested for a private tuition, then you can do yourself a solid, okay, and send an email to the sales team at ajiro@gmail.com and they'll reply to you. Computer software can be tested using normal, extreme, or abnormal data. This is also chapter 7. Okay, system life cycle, and this is under development and testing. So let me call development and testing. Development and testing. Explain what is meant by abnormal. Let me explain everything here. When we talk about the normal data, these are data, right, that is acceptable within the range of what acceptability. While extreme data are data within the limit or boundary of acceptability, and they have what, or validity, and they have two end values: the beginning or the lowest, and the highest, the first or the last, right? The abnormal data is the data outside the boundary of acceptability and should be rejected or cause an error, right? So what is the data outside the limit or boundary of what acceptability. Okay, so data will not be accepted, it should cause an error. A good example is your negative number, the parent number that was given. For example, if 1 to 10 was given, what's the abnormal data there, test data there? 0, 12, -1, or even later. Hope that makes sense. I explained this extensively in variant 1, 11, and the video is there extensively on it. Following the development and testing of the new system, technical documentation is produced. For the development and testing of the new system, technical documentation is produced. Explain why technical documentation is needed. Now let me explain this. So this is still chapter 7. Chapter 7, system lifecycle. Then you have documentation. Now let me explain this, right? So you can have an understanding. Now under documentation, we have two types, right? We have the user documentation and we have the technical documentation. I want to explain this. I'm looking for where to write it. Okay. Now, under the user documentation, right, it is designed, okay, to help user learn how to use the software, right? Learn how to use the software, okay? Why for the technical documentation? And I'll talk about it here. Help programmers, okay, or system analysts to make improvement okay, to the system. Okay, so that's one. Again, to make improvements, again, to help programmers or system analysts repair or maintain the system. Are we together? Okay. All right. File structure, validation routines, and output format are all components of technical documentation. State three other components found in technical documentation. So you have found in technical documentation, you have system flowchart, okay. You have the program flowchart, or algorithm, okay. You have minimum, memory requirement, okay. Okay, so there are other ones: list of variable use, file structure, um, program listing, sample runs, a lot of them, validation routines, a lot of them. Okay, so this one is chapter 7, documentation. Question 5: the use of computer equipment can lead to many different safety issues. Okay, for each of the following safety issues, describe 3 different ways of minimizing risk. So this is in chapter 8, right? Under what? Safety and security. Okay, and this is where you have physical safety. The what? Physical safety. Okay, physical safety. Okay, so under the physical safety, we have electrocution, tripping hazard, um, personal injury, and so we have electrocution, tripping hazard, fire hazard. Okay, so those are the 4 that we have. So you know them. Those are the 4 that we have. Okay, so now it's important for you to understand that when we talk about physical safety, there's also what we call health safety. Health safety talks about becoming ill or being affected by the daily contact with computer. That one is in chapter 5, where we'll talk about the um, back and neck strain, eye strain, RSI, ozone irritation. But physical safety is concerned with the danger that could lead to serious injury or even the loss of life. My God. Right? Now let's talk about ways to minimize the risk. Electrocution. Now for electrocution, what do you do? Let me put it here. Do not allow drinks to be taken into the computer room. Right? Don't do it. You're working with a laptop, there's water by the side. No, 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 no. I don't do it. I keep my water away from it. Yeah, I keep my water away from it. So don't do it. Right? Work with your laptop, ensure liquids are not close to it because by the time you mistakenly and that MacBook is gone. Okay? You start doing another one. All right. So again, the next one is for electrocution, ensure all equipment is checked by a qualified electrician on a regular basis. Don't do I can do it, dad, mom, let me touch it. If you will get electrocuted. Don't let a qualified electrician do it. When we learned it in school. No, 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 no. Before you know it, you're in the other side of the world. Okay? Alright. Again, no, Siri, I'm not asking you anything. Check all wires on a what? Regular basis. Okay? And renew wires if there is any sign, okay, of what? Damaged insulation. If you notice there's any damaged wire, maybe your laptop, this in school, report it to your parents. Don't do how we manage. No, 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 no. Don't manage. You are not a manager. Don't manage. Because once you manage, you might have damage. Please. Are we learning? Are we learning? All right. Trailing leads. Okay. So that's tripping hazard. Okay. So when there are trailing wires on the floor. Okay. And that simply means it can be damaged carpentry and other flooring. Electrocution talks about when you spill liquids, expose wires. Okay. So how do we use this? Now for the trailing leads, we can use cable ducts, use cable ducts, okay, use cable ducts to make, right, to make the wire, safe. The next one is what? Cover exposed wires. Please, cover what? expose wires, cover exposed wires, cover exposed wires, and hide wires under decks away from general thoroughfare. From general thoroughfare. The next one is what? Use wireless what? Connectivity. Use wireless connectivity wherever possible. Okay. Okay. Therefore, eliminating. Can see I'm writing a lot of things. Eliminating the need for trailing wires. This is what happens when for trailing cables, rather. When you read your textbook over and over again. All right. Compare and construct phishing and pharming. Chapter 8. Safety and security. Under the safety and security, what do we have? We have them as data threats. No, we have three. We have three categories. We have physical safety. We have e-safety. We have security of data. Okay. Then we have under the security of data, we have them into two. Take note. We have them as data threats and what? Protection of data. I hope we are learning. Command words for compare and construct. When we talk about compare, okay, when we talk about compare talks about the similarities. Sometimes it can also be the differences. But construct, right, talks about you identifying the differences or commenting on the differences. So here, compare talks about what? The similarities, and construct talks about what? The differences. Phishing and pharming. Now, I want to explain what phishing is and then explain what pharming is. They are all under what? They are all under what? Data threat. Now, let me explain this. Now, when we talk about phishing, phishing simply means when somebody sends out legitimate looking emails to target users. Okay. As soon as that unfortunate unfortunate recipients click on that link, it's gone. He or she will start crying, right? Right? He or she will start crying. I'm taking my money. No, they didn't take your money. You were deciding to, you were curious. What could this link mean? You click on it. Okay. They tell you enter your Snapchat ID. And your Snapchat ID is not looking like the Snapchat ID. The Snapchat look like the Snapchat, you enter because you see Snapchat symbol. Or they send you a link and you are curious to know what it is. It is curiosity that kills. Be careful. Right? So it can be a link in the email or what as an attachment. So it fools you into giving what? Your personal details or replying to the email. It looks as if it's coming from a trusted source. Look at the email address very well. It is not from Apple CEO. You are not that important. Yes. Apple CEO. Okay. Let me impress him. If you impress, hmm, 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 you might regret. Okay. So that's what happens. So they get your personal details, right? And it can lead to what? Fraud or what? Identity theft. But when it comes to farming, okay, many ways to kind of eliminate this threat. We've talked about the um, we've talked about the description of it, possible effect of security risk, and ways to eliminate it. Now, ways to eliminate it is we can use our ISP can filter emails that are not recognized, right? Be cautious about opening emails. Any email I don't recognize, I delete. I have a simple life. I delete. If it comes again, I delete. If it comes again, you know the rest. Don't click on executable what? Attachment that ends in what? Exe. Don't click on it. Pharming is a malicious code that is installed on a user computer or on a web server. This code is going to redirect the user to a fake website. You're going to a banking details and it takes you to a fake banking details and you put in your details. From the joy to the tears in seconds without the knowledge. You don't have to take any action, unlike phishing. Okay, so it can gain personal data, it can lead to what? Fraud or identity theft. So use anti-spyware to identify. The user should be alert, okay, and look out for what? Clues. Okay, that's way to eliminate it. So now we have that understanding. Let's look at it. So let's talk about the similarities. So similarities here. The first one is what? Both are what? Both are what? Data threat. Both use the internet. Both gain access. To personal data. Okay. I know it's 6 marks, I know. Both can direct users to a fake website. Let's talk about differences. Okay. Now let's talk about this. In phishing, okay, you have a legitimate looking email sent to target users. Okay. We also see that eligible email sent, okay, email that contains a link sent to the user, okay. The email appears to come from a trusted source, okay. And of course, when you click, it takes you to a fake website. In farming, in farming, a malicious code is installed onto the computer, okay. The software directs the user to what? A fake website, okay. Mostly without the user what? Knowledge. Without the user's knowledge. Without the user's knowledge. State two precaution that users should take to protect their data from phishing attack. Okay, we talked about it. For phishing attack, okay, use email filter. Email filter, if possible, from your ISP. From your ISP, which is what? Your internet service provider. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, internet service provider. Okay, users should always be cautious when opening emails, okay, or attachments, okay. States two precaution that users should take to protect their data from pharming attack, okay. Run anti-spyware to help identify and remove pharming code from the computer. The user should always be alert and look out for clues that they have been redirected to another site. Are we having a good time? It's important. Are we having a good time? Learn these things early. Okay, so these are ways to remove it. Run anti-spyware to help identify and remove pharming code from the computer, and again, be on the lookout. Very important. So all this is what I just want to be sure. Chapter 8, they're all the same thing. Chapter 8 as well. Right? Safety and security. I always tell you where the chapters are coming from. Yeah. Okay. Safety and security. A group of people use satellite navigation system. That's chapter 6. Sat nav on their smartphone when walking in a remote area of the countryside. Describe the benefit and drawbacks of using satellite navigation system in this scenario. Now let's look at this is chapter 6. ICT applications. Under ICT application, you're having it's the last application, satellite system. Now, under satellite system, please, I want you to listen, right? Under satellite system, we have the GPS, which is global positioning system, right? Which is the global positioning system. Now, and then we have what the global positioning system with the satellite navigation system, and then we have the GIS, right? Which is what the geographic information what system. Good. And then we have what the media communication system. Okay. Now, when we talk about the GPS, they are used to determine the exact location the exact location of a numbers of modes of transport. Now, in this case, the person is working in a remote area. Take note because we must relate to this scenario of the countryside. Okay, so um, we use the GPS as satellite navigation system, what we call your sat nav, right? Now, the way it works, right? The satellite surrounds the Earth, right, and transmits signals to the surface. Computers right, the computer installed on the smartphone, right, would receive and interpret these signals. Now, each satellite that would transmit the data indicates its position and time. Satellite needs very accurate timing in order to know their position relative to the Earth. They use atomic clock, which is accurate to what? Billionth. Billionth of a second. That's how fast it is. Per day. Okay? So that's how it works. So it calculates the exact position based on the information from at least 3 satellites. Are we together? Okay. So they said benefit. So let's talk about benefit. I know it's the 6 marker. So let's look at benefits. So benefits. Okay. Now, the person working, a group of people, the group of people, okay, the group of people do not need to carry a number of what? Paper maps. Okay. It can give a real-time update of position. Okay. They can give a real-time update of position to know where they are. The system can estimate the time of what? Arrival. Mhm. It's more up to date. Up to date than paper maps. Okay. Drawbacks. Now, for drawback, notice that it is what? In a remote area. Remote area. And because it is a remote area, signal is what? Since is in a what? Remote area. The signal is more likely to be lost. Okay. And to add to it, we talked about the system. The system needs to be what? Needs to be kept. System needs to be kept up to date as what? The route what? Changes. As the route change. So if the route has changed, what happens? You get lost. Okay, so I think this is clear. A bookshop is setting up a database of books that it sells. Part of the database is shown. So this is chapter 7 and chapter 15. Yeah, chapter 7 and chapter 15. So this is chapter 7. which is what? The system life cycle. The system's life cycle. Okay, let's see. And this under design. Yeah. We'll talk about the validation routines. Okay, so let's talk about it. Now, when we talk about um, validation routines, what do we mean? I have talked about it, but I want to explain it. Now, when data is input in a computer system, there's a need to check that the data is acceptable, right? Good. Now, validation. I mean, this is the same thing as chapter 15, proofing. Is the process where data entered. Let me write it down. Let me write it for you. Validation is the process where data entered into a computer is checked to see if it satisfies a certain criteria. Okay. Now, please, you should know that this process is automated, right? It's carried out by the computer. So we have a lot of checks. I will explain them quickly. So we have range check. It checks to see if the data enters lies between the acceptable upper value and acceptable what lower value. We have type check. It checks to see if the data entered is of the same type. We have length check. It checks to see if the data entered contains only the required number of character. We have format check. It checks to see if the data imputed is of the correct format. Present check. It checks to see that if the data entered into a field has not been left what? Empty. Check digits does three things to ensure that numbers have not been transposed, two have not been transposed, an incorrect digit has not been entered, and a digit has not been missed out or an extra digit added. They said, for each of the following validation checks, state the appropriate field. Your answer must be different in each case. Format check is what? I want you to tell me in the comment section with what I've explained. What is format? Tell me in the comment section. Format check is what? Is which of the field? We have date of name of book, type of book, price, and date of publication. Which is it? Okay. 1, 2, 3. All right. So let me write it. So we have, you have to write it exactly the way it is. Date of publication, because it's a field. Okay. Range check. Which one is range check? Let me know in the comment section. Tell me in the comment section. Range check. Which field? Okay. So we have what? Price. Yeah, price range, right? Length check. Okay. Okay, so length check is what? Type of book. Okay. Validation and verification check are carried out on the data. Explain why both validation and verification are needed. So this is what? Chapter 15, proofing. Chapter 15, proofing. Let's look at it. Chapter 15, proofing. Now, we've talked about validation. When we talk about verification, what do we mean? We are now saying that for verification, you are verifying. And there are two ways to verify. We have the visual check and what? We have the double data entry. So you are verifying that the data entered, right? You are comparing, you are verifying from the original source and what has been what has been entered into what? The system. Now, these two are very important. Okay? These two are very important because for verification, it is simply a way of preventing errors. Okay? So let me put it here. Verification is a way of preventing errors when data is copied from one medium to another. Okay, so it doesn't stop all errors. It's just preventing errors when data is copied from one medium. It doesn't stop all errors. It can help to reduce when the data is entered the computer. So both of them have to work together. Okay, so validation and verification, when used together, would help to reduce the numbers of errors in data entry. Even together, they don't stop all errors occurring. Let me give you an example. Telephone number. And it is recorded as what? Let's say, for example, the number is 12345 and it's five six, it's as 4321. Should not be found. The error will not be found or corrected. Right? If found or corrected to visual verification or double data entry, right? Then the validation will not see it. So the error will not be found because you look at it. No, that one is too. Let me give you something. You have 84211 6547. You now have 8421654. You might not know. You might not know. Okay. So let's look at it. Let's so explain why both verification are needed together. I talked about it. Right? I talked about it together. They help reduce the numbers of error in data entry. Okay. Validation will check for data being reasonable. Verification will check that the data has been copied correctly. Okay. We check that it has been copied what correctly. from the source document. Now the next one is this. So explain why both verification are needed. Again, the data may be sensible, but not transcribed correctly. What again? The data may be transcribed correctly, but not sensible due to errors on the source document. Okay. State one method of verification. I told you we have two: visual verification or visual check or double data entry. So anyone you want to put is fine, right? So we have visual verification. Okay. For others, let me just put it here. Double data entry. Okay.
A lot, and you're like, okay, do you have a private tuition? Don't you have? Do you have? And yes, Ajiro Tech do have a private tuition. So by my right, you can see that we have for the EdXL and Cambridge IGCSE, and yes, we do have for all subjects. Okay, all subjects. Okay, the popular ones that's always been in demand is mathematics, English language as a second language. Okay, we have physics, we have biology, we have chemistry, and we have um, you know the flagship, which is ICT, just here and there. We also have business studies. So if you're interested for a private tuition, um, I think all you have to do is send an email to the sales team at agiletech@gmail.com, and they would reply to you, talk about your time zone, talk about, and the fee is really quite affordable. Really, it's really quite affordable. It's when you look at it across um, other tutoring service, I think this is the one that's quite affordable, and you get the very best of service. We also have for the E levels as well, um, and also for the EdXL. So we have for the Cambridge E levels and EdXL E levels. Okay, and we have also across the subject mathematics, which is usually the hot cake when it comes to E level mathematics and chemistry, and then biology. These are usually one of the ones we have in demand always, all the time. Even physics, for E level. So all you have to do, if you're watching this right now and you are interested for um, a private tuition, then you can do yourself a solid, okay, and send an email to the sales team at agile@gmail.com, and they'll reply to you.
A company computer network uses a switch. Okay. Explain the purpose of a network switch. Now, let me explain this. You see this in chapter 4, networks and the effects of using them. Now, let me explain this to you. When we talk about hub, right? They are hardware device um, that connect devices together to form a what? A local area network. Habits, data received to one of these ports, the data packet received to one of these ports is broadcast to what? To every device that is what? That is connected to what? That is connected to it. Very important. But when it comes to the switch is what? An intelligent version. Is the intelligent version of what? Of the hub. Why? Because it sends it to what? The specific what? Device. It goes to what? The right what? Destination. Why does it go to the right destination? It goes to the right destination because of what? The media access control it has. It is what we call a lookup table. Okay? It is what we call what? A lookup what? Table. That's what it is. So in summary, right? Just to give you a summary of what I have said, in summary, it's important you need to know that the switch is more secure than the hub. Okay, and even though both of them are used to connect devices in the LAN, right, the switch is more secure because it sends data packet to a specific what? Device only. You know, I said something. It is what we call the lookup table, right? Because each device would have a matching MAC address. Okay, your MAC address is what? Your physical address that comes with the device, and it's been attached to what? Your NIC, your network interface card. The only time your MAC address changes is when you replace the network interface card. Are we learning? So the switch is the intelligent version of what? The hub. So explain the purpose of a network switch. Okay, so let's explain the purpose of a network switch. So here it connects devices together to form a LAN. Okay, it sends data packets to the correct device based on the MAC address in the lookup table. Okay, it reduces network traffic because every data packet is being sent to what? The correct destination. There's no congestion of traffic, right? So it reduces network traffic. Okay, a smart TV can connect to a network using Wi-Fi, wireless fidelity. Describe how the smart TV can be connected to the Wi-Fi. So you have it as here, chapter 4, under Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. Networks and the effects of using them. Okay, of using them. Okay. Okay, let's look at it. Let's talk about a bit of them, yeah, and then we proceed. Now, both Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, they offer what we call wireless communication devices, right? Because they both use what we call electromagnetic radiation as the carrier of data transmission. So we're working specifically with Wi-Fi. Okay, so that's important. So the Wi-Fi sends and receives radio waves in several different frequency bands. So it uses 2.4 and 2.4 gigahertz and 5.0 or 5 gigahertz, right? Which is the most common, right? So they work together. Wi-Fi is best suited at operating full scale, right? So it offers a much faster data transfer rate. Take note, and it has a better range and better security. Now, a Wi-Fi enabled device, such as in this case, the smart TV, can access, for example, the internet wirelessly at any access point or hotspot up to 100 meters. So if an access point is in your house or you want to use your hotspot, right? Or in this case, you want to connect directly, the access points are the ones at the top that are being placed, or you want to connect your hotspot maybe to a router, right? Up to 100 watt meters away. Okay. So they said describe. Now, command word for describe. Command word for describe talks about state the point of a topic. That's describe. Describe talks about what? State the point of a topic, right? And its main features. Okay. So let's look at this. The form marker. How the smart TV can be connected to the Wi-Fi. So the first thing is that the user, you must give the complete step. The user opens, and this is a practical question. Open the settings menu on the TV. Okay. It chooses network to connect. If you have not done that in your TV, if you have a PlayStation 5, you know what I'm talking about. Okay. A list of networks appear appears. Users selects a network user enters password. The user clicks on connect. Okay. Note, if not connected, error message appears. All right. State the type of network that the smart TV will connect to. You know, we're talking about So we have types of networks. Let me talk about it. We have types of networks. Are we learning, please? Let me know if in the comment section if you are learning. Types of networks. We have the local area network, which is your LAN. We have the wireless local area network, which is your WLAN. And then we have the wide area network. Which is the one. Now I'm going to explain these things to you and you will tell me which is the answer, right? You're going to tell me. Now, when it comes to local area network, they are usually within one building, right? So a typical LAN will connect a number of computers or devices which is connected to hubs or switches within that building. Then we have the wireless. Now take note, they are connected with what? With the use of wires. Take note, they are connected with the use of wires. Then the wireless local area network is similar to the LAN, but there are no wires or cables. What I'm simply saying is that they provide wireless network communication over fairly short distances using radio or infrared signals instead of cables, right? So they usually use devices known as access point or hotspot, right? Of course, the access points are connected to wired network at fixed location, but you can access it wirelessly. Then the um, wide area network are used where computers or network are situated a long distance, right, from each other geographically, right? This is in different cities or different countries. Okay. State the type of network that the smart TV would connect to. Let me know in the comment section. Which is the answer? State. Okay. Now, if you did the wireless local area network, that is correct. Why? Because it makes use of what? A Wi-Fi. There's no wire. Okay. A bank uses secure socket layer. Explain what is meant by SSL. So you see this in chapter 8, safety and security. Now, to be more specific, you see it under security of data, the secure socket layer, right? You see it under the security of what? Security of data. Now, when we talk about the SSL, is a type of protocol. Okay, explain what is meant by SSL. Let me just write it here. A type of protocol that allows data to be sent and received securely over the internet. Okay, that's what it is. So we have them in so it's secure with the padlock, right? So they can be used in online banking, online shopping, sending and receiving emails, etc., etc. Okay. So I said is the type of what that allows that to be sent. Okay. Um, okay. So we have it's a standard. Take note. Is a standard security technology, and it can set up. You can split this into two. This can be seen as what a type of protocol one, and then allow the data to be set securely. That's 2 marks. Okay. So um, I think I will just do that. Mm, let me do that. Mm, let me do that. Type of what security protocol. Okay, and this one, so I can clean this because I've gotten my 3 points. Allows data to be sent and received securely over the internet. Okay, so let me just clean this one over over the internet, and then you have what the standard security technology. So I've gotten my 3 marks. State how a user would know that SSL has been used on the website. Simple. The website address starts with HTTPS. Now, what this means is hypertext transfer protocol secured. That's what it means. For other, if you don't have this, there's an icon. There's an icon of a green padlock, a green locked padlock, telling you what that is what it is secured. Okay, telling you that. So the one that has HTTP is not secured, right? So that one comes like this. The HTTP one comes like this. There's an I, then right? But this one, there's that padlock sign. There's that padlock sign. Okay. A search engine could be used to find the bank website. Describe the benefit and drawbacks using a search engine to find websites. So this is chapter 10. This is chapter 10. This is chapter this is no, this is chapter 8. Chapter 8. Safety and security. This is chapter 10. Communication. To be used to find the bank website. Describe the benefit and drawbacks of using a search engine to find the website. Okay. So when we are using search engine, it's faster because it's able to give you information about the website. Now there's even AI that can now tell you more. Of course, we have a Google Gemini, right? Right, that can tell you more about that particular website. So here you see that describe the benefits. So let's look at the benefits here. You have fast search for the website. Or using search to find the website. Most time when I'm looking for scores, right? I want to know what's happening in the Barclay Premier League. I just search it. I don't have time to. I can't even. I don't even know if I know there's a Premier League website. I don't know the. I just search Premier League, and you give me the website. I'll just go there. I don't even look at it because I know it is. When I click on it, I see it. I see the padlock and everything. Right? So it's always good to check. So the URL need not to be known. Okay, it's easy to find the website. Then we have the drawbacks. Now, of course, when you're searching for information, oh my goodness, it can lead to information overload, right? Because you're looking for information, you're finding for this, it can take you a lot of, like, the information will be just too much. Okay, the information will just be too much. So that is one disadvantage. Um, it can lead to information what overload. Okay, so can lead to information overload. Okay, can be time consuming because there are a lot of advertisement that becomes at the top. So it can be time consuming. To find the exact website. Okay. All right. Especially if clear informations are not given. For others, advertising. Now I talked about it. Sites are placed at the top of the list. Okay. Which makes it difficult. Are we learning? A student is working on a project and needs to transfer some of her files from the college computer to our home computer. One way in which the student could transfer it is uploading it onto the cloud. That's cloud computing. State three other ways in which the student can transfer the files. Okay. So we see that in the ending of chapter 3. Yeah, the ending of chapter 3. So chapter 3, storage devices and media. Okay, so you see that under the last place, where you when you look at it there on chapter 3, and then you see other ways. In fact, there was a scenario about the MP about music, right? How you can transfer music um, if you take your time to go through it, or I can just right here explain um, to you, because that links us to the next one about the future of cloud storage, right? The future of storage devices, and one of them was the cloud storage. So I talked about other ways to transfer, right? The main method of transferring files between devices now is we see that as a flash memory, right? So many people now store, uh, you know, files in the following ways: either in your hard drive, okay, or it could be in the cloud, like I've talked, or streaming. But here we're talking about files. Okay, we're talking about files. So she could use the student could use a pen drive, so pen drive, okay, can use a portable, okay, um portable external, portable, yeah, uh SSD, okay, or she could um as an attachment, okay, as an attachment on an email. Okay, describe how the student could use the cloud to transfer the project. So this is chapter 4. Networks and the effect of using them. Okay. Okay, so how is she going to do that? So you have to give the full step. So the student, the cloud, right? You know, your OneDrive, your Google Drive, right? Your iCloud. The student logs onto the cloud account at the college So I have to refer to it, right? College, college, okay, uploads project onto the cloud, saves the project onto the cloud, onto the cloud. How to say I could use the cloud to transfer the project. Yeah, so that's it. So that's it. So that's how you can use it to transfer the project. Transfer the files from. Okay, what kind of project needs to transfer the to our home computer? Okay, yeah. So when she gets home, she can now log into the cloud account and download it to her PC. Okay. State the process involved in withdrawing cash from the automatic teller machine after the customer has inserted a card into the machine. So this is chapter 6. Chapter 6, ICT application. Now, this is seen as the banking system. The banking system. Why? Because in the banking system, we have various ways to do that. Okay, we have various ways we can do that, various ways. So we have the EFT, right? Under banking system, we have EFT, we have the ATM, okay, which is the automatic teller machine. Okay. What else again? Where you can do your debit, yeah, I think credit and debit card transaction, check clearing, and even internet banking. So we call it under the bank say the banking application. Okay, so we're now stating the process involved. Okay, in withdrawing cash from after the customer has inserted his card into the ATM machine. So what happens once you insert the card into the machine? What's the first step? The card would contact, okay, the card would make contact with the bank computer. Say check involved in withdrawing cash. Then checks if the PIN entered while he has inserted his card is correct. We will also checks that the card is not stolen or invalid, yeah, or expired, right? Okay. Then access Customers account. Okay. Checks. Let me see. These are so many options I'm giving. They said involved in drawing card from after the customer, so it checks the card is not stolen here. Checks daily limit not exceeded. Also check for enough money in the account, and customers account is updated. Okay, so these are various ways, right? These are the processes involved in withdrawing cash. Okay, when the customer insert his or her, um, his or her card. So, okay, so um, thank you very much. I think we saw questions in chapter 6, chapter 4, chapter 3, chapter 8. There were questions from chapter 8 a lot, chapter 4 a lot. Um, just one from chapter 15. We had chapter 7 as always, chapter 6, chapter 8 a lot, right? Um, the first variant was chapter 7 a lot, the second variant was chapter 8 a lot. Um, chapter 7, chapter 7, chapter 6, and we had chapter 2 and chapter 1. Okay. Well, hope you have been able to learn a lot right here, and do well to subscribe to YouTube channel if you have not done so, and share this with your friends. Let them learn. Don't learn alone. Let your friends also learn with you, so you can grow and become better, right? So the more you become better, your friends are also becoming better. So share it with them. Make it a group study. Make it a group study and discuss about it. Talk about it. I want to see a lot of additional inputs in the comment section as well. Okay, and if you have not joined uh, Discord server, you probably want to do that, because that's where you get to learn a lot. There are a lot of resource materials there. You probably see it on the screen. And thank you very much, right? And I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.